Hi friend, what's up? How are you doing? I hope you're having a great day. So today I'm going to be talking about how I budget my income as a freelancer in Nigeria. Yeah, money is not really something like I'm comfortable talking about, but I would love to make this video, my friend, because I know that you out there is looking for this video and it's really going to be helpful for you. So let's get right into it. Okay, you know that as a freelancer, your income is definitely not something that's steady. You could just have like multiple clients work that you're doing this month, and next month you might be out of work, you might be scrabbling looking for clients. So it's not really something that is a straightforward thing on the graph. It's not a steady trajectory on the graph. What do I mean by this? I mean, like, it's not guaranteed that every month you're going to be earning $2,000 or $3,000. Some months you could earn $3,000, some months you could earn $500, some months you could earn 5,000, you could earn $10,000. So it depends, right? And also, where I get my money from, I also have like a remote 9 to 5 as a social media manager. And well, I'm a content creator, but I've not really started getting brand deals. So more of my income comes from freelancing. I freelance on Upwork. I also get freelance gigs from LinkedIn. So, and then my remote 9 to 5. So the first thing is that I use the 50-30-20 method, although I adapted it to suit my lifestyle, to suit my income. I spend 50% on my needs like food, like data subscription, because it's very important, like my bills, my electricity bill, or buying water and transport to and fro to places. So that's where I spend 50% of my salary. Like that's the major bulk. I spend 30 on my wants and my siblings, my family needs, things like that. Sometimes I may have to send money back home to my mom or to my sister that is in school. So I spend 30% on those days. Maybe I want maybe new clothes, or since I start content creation, maybe I need to spend money on maybe shooting content, maybe get ready with me or come with me to social events. So I spend 30% on that. Then the remaining 20% is for savings and investments. And I use different apps that help me for this savings. I'm always a PiggyVest girly. So I discovered PiggyVest before I went to NYSC. That was in 2021. And it has been helping me a lot. Like, me helping me. One day, PiggyVest is going to feature me in an interview. Like one day, because I so love PiggyVest. Then, aside PiggyVest, I also use RiseVest. I also use Optimus. So Optimus by AfroInvest, I use it also. Then I use Bamboo. And then for receiving international payments, I use DigPay, I use Gray. And sometimes when I receive payments in those apps, I let it be in that currency that I received it in. So maybe when I need money, I can always like do the exchange inside the app if I need it. If not, I let it be in dollars or in euros or in pounds. Because I'm telling you, you know that the currency exchange rate in Nigeria keeps like fluctuating. Sometimes in the past, it would be up to like 1,600. Then sometimes it would be like 1,500 or 1,400. So what if you receive the money and the currency exchange rate is in like 1,400, and you go, or you just straightforward convert the money, and maybe 2 months later or maybe 2 weeks later, the currency exchange rate becomes 1,700. What would you do? Yeah, so that's why I leave it in that particular currency. So that always works for me. Then the second thing I do that helps me to manage my income and my finances is I pay myself a salary, yes, from that freelance income. Of course, when the money comes in, I know there might be bills to pay, there might be investments or anything, but I always calculate a percentage that I pay myself first, because it's my sweat and I need to bring out a certain percentage and keep it as something I would reward myself with. Because if not, especially with something that happens like first the children, like the firstborn of the family, you'll be tempted to just like spend everything on other people and nothing for yourself. So I always dedicate a certain amount for myself. I pay it to myself and I tell myself this is my salary, or this is my percentage from this freelance gig I got. So that is not negotiable. I do it, and I can use that money to do whatever I want to do. Maybe to order my favorite treats, or to just take myself out, or maybe buy something that I really like or I really want. So that's what I do. Then the third thing I do to help me manage my income is I have multiple saving pots. Like I have multiple savings and investment. Okay, for investment, I'm really trying to learn more about investment because it's not something I really know how to do. Of course, I've had like savings in the past, and just this year I started researching more about investment. So that was what led me to downloading Bamboo. So on Bamboo, you can buy maybe Nigerian stock or maybe foreign stock. You can also buy treasury bills. You can also buy mutual mutual funds bill or something like that. I can't remember exactly. Mutual funds that you could be getting on dividends. So these things really help me a lot, because being a freelancer means that one day you could wake up and your clients could just like close the contract with no warning. It has happened to me earlier this year. I woke up one day in February and the contract had already been closed on Upwork. So it was later that I asked my client, and he said that that fire outbreak in, was it Los Angeles or Chicago, really affected his business, things like that. And it really took him like months for him to get back on his feet. So imagine if I don't have like a savings or maybe emergency fund by the side where I would like depend on. It will really mean that I'm going to be broke, I'm hungry. So things like that. I'm always like saving. There's always something I'm always saving for. For instance, I learned this. Okay, I learned this from my grandma. Every Christmas, you know, this thing that they usually have this contribution that you make maybe every week, and at the end of the year, people get maybe rice or beans or spices, things like that. It really helps. It really goes a long way, because during those Christmas season, we know that food items are really like very expensive. As all like me that lives away from my family, I would want to like go back with food in January. So how do I go back if I didn't contribute anything for it? So I don't really want to get stories in January. So I'm always like contributing maybe small, so that Naira weekly or 500 Naira weekly, things like that, to help me out during the Christmas season. So when we buy those foodstuffs in bulk quantity, we can like share it and distribute it among ourselves. So it really helps. Please start doing it. It looks like old people's mathematics, but it will really help. Four is I track every kobo. Like I track every kobo literally. I don't know. I'm really somebody that is very obsessed with like my finances. Like I'm really obsessed. I don't know, maybe because I'm the first daughter and the first child. Maybe that's it. Or maybe because I just love money. I love money. I want to be rich. I want to be able to afford a certain lifestyle. I want to live in comfort, and I'm ready to work for it. So I always track my expenses every month. When I get my pay or I get any amount of money that comes in, I'm always like tracking expenses. I'm always tracking whatever I need to buy. And I don't have any app I use for that at the moment. I just use my pen and paper. I sit down, I write out my list, what exactly I need for this month, and maybe how much it costs. Maybe what did it cost the last time I got them, or maybe I could just maybe check on Junior or Google and like have the price attached to the list. If I don't know the amount, I could just like maybe do an estimate. And when I calculate that, I know how much maybe I'm going to the market with, like for groceries or for anything, or for pay for maybe my water bill or my data subscription or things like that. So it really helps me not to overspend, because when you are a freelancer, because of the conversion rates, you might just convert and you see that the money is maybe in millions or in thousands, and you're looking at it, you're like, wow, this money is big, or none of my age mates has ended up to like this, and you are tempted to like just splurge and do anything. I have made that mistake before. Meanwhile, I have a video on my channel about money mistakes I have made, and I will advise you to please go watch that video so we don't make the same mistakes I have made. So that's what I will advise. Always be conscious of your spending. That you are earning, you are seeing the money you are earning in millions, doesn't mean that you should instantly switch your lifestyle to match people that you see online, because there's this silly trend that is going on X, on Twitter. Freelancers always buying gadgets, buying tools, both the one that they actually need and ones they don't need. So do not make that mistake. Then the fifth tip on how I budget my income as a freelancer in Nigeria is always invoice and follow up immediately. I always invoice and follow up immediately, because your clients might forget to pay you, but if you don't follow up, if you don't remind them, that means that money might actually enter into a voicemail. Then Nigeria, you know what it means, that your money entered voicemail. I've had cases where freelancers get ghosted. Maybe they had a client, they had some agreement, and in the end they weren't paid, and it's always like very messy trying to trace the clients and trying to find the money. So what you should always do is always invoice and make sure you follow. I know as Nigerians, it looks weird, it looks disrespectful for you to ask your boss for money or to remind them of what they owe you. But trust me, in the freelancing world, especially if you're working with foreign clients, it is not disrespectful. It is your right as a freelancer to always send the invoice and follow up immediately. Sometimes the client might forget. It might not really be their fault that they've not paid you, but things happen. They might have forgotten, but you have to remind them. And if you're someone that keeps doing a job without sending invoice, without collecting at least half of the payment, or maybe 1/4 of the payment, I would advise you to stop. Always collect half of the payment or any sort of payment before you begin work, unless you're using maybe freelance platforms that your money can be put in escrow. because this keeps happening to freelancers every time. Like every time they keep complaining, oh, I finished the work and the clients did not pay me, and then they don't know where to like trace and look for the clients and things like that. It always happens. So for invoicing, I've used Zoho Books to send invoice. So there is a way to automate it in Zoho Books that the client gets the invoice at a specific date in the month. For instance, if you have a client that says you should send the invoice maybe beginning of the month or maybe 25th or 26th, you can automate that in Zoho Books. You can also automate that in Gray or GeekPay, and it will just start sending recurring invoice to your client, so you don't like keep chasing invoices every time. So always track your expenses. Don't be shy with things that relate to the money. Don't be shy. Chase the money, invoice them, remind them, follow up until you get your pick, because these things turns out to be messy when you experience them. Go on X, go on Twitter, and read up how freelancers get ghosted, or how freelancers don't get their money after doing a job. So it's a problem that I always try to mitigate by invoicing and following up early. The thing I do that helps me to manage my income as a freelancer is I invest in my business. Yes, freelancing is a business because you need to pay for tools. If you're someone that maybe freelances on Upwork, you need to buy Connect, is money. You need to pay for LinkedIn Pro. If you are using X, you need to pay for X subscription that will allow you to send code DMs. You pay for all those things, and it's not usually like it's small money. Most of that you need to pay in USD. And I use GeekPay and Gray. They have option of requesting for a USD card, and you can get a USD card that you use for those payments. I know some people have complained that they can't use their normal Nigerian cards that you use in the bank to pay. And if you cannot use those cards, always just request for USD card or Euro card on GeekPay or Gray, or maybe Clever or Sense or any of all those fintech apps that freelancers use. And it's just simple and easy. I've tested it, it works. I have a card on GeekPay and I use it for all my payments, subscription. So I invest in my business too. Maybe I need to pay for my data subscription, or I need to pay for the metrical subscription, metrical buffer that I use for scheduling. I would have to pay for those things, maybe a microphone or extra lighting for my content. All these are investments I have to make for myself. So these are the ways I budget my income. These 6 things are like very important ways that I budget my income as a freelancer in Nigeria. So to conclude and to wrap it up, I would advise you to be financially smart. There's one thing that kills freelancers, not like that kills them, but one problem that freelancers have is they are always living in the moment. So when they get like in freelance, when they get gigs or maybe foreign clients, they start spending unnecessarily. They buy tools that they don't need, things like that. They want to impress their friends. They instantly go and buy the latest iPhone, things like that. But if you are someone that knows what your plan is and what your goal is in life, always try to budget whatever you spend. Of course, you can treat yourself, you can take yourself out, but always have a budget, have a plan. Don't spend unnecessarily. Invest back in your business, because every freelancer experiences the high days and the low days. And trust me, the low days are really going to be painful and long. So thank you for staying to the end of this video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Get to hear from you in the comment section. Which of these tips are you going to be trying? Do you have more tips that you will add? Please put them in the comments. I would also love to learn from you too. So please follow me on Instagram, on TikTok, and on Facebook. I use my name Ifnach Vivian everywhere, and see you in the next video. Bye.